Crime in Costa Rica. Unfortunately, the numbers of crime are really more up than years before. I am making this video in 2023. My name is Muriel and I moved to Costa Rica in 2018 with my husband and two growing up kids. And if you are thinking or dreaming about coming to Costa Rica, whether that's for moving to Costa Rica or just because you want to explore Costa Rica and want to travel through Costa Rica, and you are worried about all the news that you hear about crime in Costa Rica and how safe is Costa Rica, then please do watch my video till the end, because I will bring up that I believe in a solution that you can add to all the other already provided solution against crime overall, according to Costa Rica and according to crime and robbery in general. And it's a solution that unfortunately almost no one talks about, but I apply every single day. And again, like I said, it's edible to all other precautions against crime and robberies and theft and stuff. But before we're gonna dive right in, in case you wonder, where are you sitting, Muriel? Well, this is my river. Of course, you cannot own rivers in Costa Rica, but that is my property. And this is a place where only we are able to come, because the access to the river is from my own property, and the other property is cowland. So I am sitting in a very peaceful place where I love to sit and think, or sometimes make videos. I am, first of all, before I'm gonna talk about crime in Costa Rica, which I see around me happening, and it's not always fun, I am intensively, incredibly, extraordinary happy with my kids in Costa Rica. No doubt about that. And no crime, if you ask me, is able to push me out. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of people being totally soaked up by fear for crime, or just anything related to crime scares the heck out of them. They sleep well, they don't sleep well, they sleep bad. And I will be the last person who will be telling you that crime is exaggerated in Costa Rica. It is really growing. Now, what's going on? There is more and more new people coming to Costa Rica, and the differences between rich and poor is just getting bigger. It's a very cliche, but that's what I've been seeing. A lot of new houses are built. A lot of workers from surrounding countries are coming to Costa Rica to construct houses. And that's often people who are searching for opportunities. They don't have so much. Often they just come and only have their toothbrush. And those workers they are actually often not taken care of really well. And in some cases that leads to crime, unfortunately. That's just one case. But this is not a reality show, or I'm not coming with stats whatsoever. I'm here to share a solution that I totally believe in, that you can add to all other solutions. So what I will be not touching about is how to make your house safer with locks, what type of locks to buy, or who to call. There's lots of mosquitoes here, so I'm not sure how long I can take it. Sitting at the waterside, I forgot to put mosquito spray on, and the mosquitoes still like me. So I'm not going to touch on all these techie stuff. Please, you know, there are so many other Costa Rica video makers who touch on this, and that's awesome. I want to touch on a solution that comes from within yourself. Seeing you as your own tool to keep yourself safe, and you can do more than you think. Overall, I believe, since I work with so many people from all walks of life since many years, and the last 7 years also as an online life and business coach, that people are underestimating their own power, their own mind power, their own self-esteem, and everything is energy. And yes, you can keep yourself safe by buying big locks and building a big wall around your house and live in a compound with armed guards. It's one way. However, is that a life? Isn't that a prison? I think, how about what I apply for many years is the power of the mind. And that comes from within you. Your mind is within you. And in schools, one of the things that most of my students, including myself, have not learned is the law of attraction. You know, what you focus on grows. So let's talk about fear. I can imagine that if your neighbors were robbed and you were close with them and they shared all the stories about what happened, you're scared to death. I would be shocked as well. But then what you do with that circumstance that has happened, it's up to you. Do you allow it to totally master your world and your life and your happiness? Do you allow it to spoil your livelihood living in Costa Rica, enjoying going out? I don't really believe in that. I don't think that's... there's really a lot of mosquitoes. That's really not a life. So how about talking about the power of your own mind? First of all, the only thing you have influence on is nothing that happens outside of you. Nothing. Not if the neighborhood is super safe. Of course you can have a little impact on that by working together and guarding the neighborhood together and have a safety WhatsApp group whatsoever. But the real only thing 100% you have influence on is just one thing. It's you. It's your own thoughts, it's your own feelings, and it's your own actions, right? That's what you own, nothing else. So if you take that as a reference point, also a fact is what you focus on grows. We have something like the law of attraction that is overall not taught to anyone. Well, everyone knows that the law of gravity exists. That means that when I just drop this stick, there is no doubt that it will fall down. No one probably who's watching is thinking, well, it might fall to the other side, up. No, we have learned the law of gravity is always working, and it works everywhere on the globe for everything, for a stick, for a pen, for a hat, for a person, for anything. Okay? Now, because the law of attraction is not taught, we are not using a full capacities of our mind. Do you know that it's officially that we just use a very tiny part of our brains? So there is a lot undiscovered. Now, a big chunk of what we are able to use is the power of attracting things, right? And we can do so much with our minds. I believe we can keep each other and ourselves safe by not focusing on fears. Because when you start focusing on fears, everything you're thinking has an impact on your physical state. Just an example of this is really true. There is a water experiment, and I will add the link down below my video. It's Masaru Emoto, and he has literally proven that vibrations, also emotional state of people and how they talk to bits of water, literally changes the form and the shape of the water molecules that has turned into ice. So for example, and it's really fun to see, and I'm getting to a point here, but brief explanation. Why I'm bringing this up is that we often say, well, thoughts, words cannot hurt someone. Thoughts don't mean anything in the situation. Well, that everyone is believing that is wrong, not because you're guilty or something. No one taught you. It's different. In reality, Masaru Emoto showed that the water from a same water source has been taken in pieces in glasses or pots, whatever. And every bit of water has been put in a different room. And in that room, there were different vibrations. For example, in one room, there were fighting people, verbally fighting people. And saying bad things, bad words, ugly words like, I hate you, you're ugly, stupid cow, and all really bad intentional words. And the water was exposed to that. In the other room, the water was exposed to praying monks or meditating people. In another room, there were people who were making love, and so on and so on. So the water was exposed to different vibrations. That is something you don't touch, you don't smell, you don't see, you don't feel, but it's there, right? Now, what did he do? All that water drops from the different areas, from the different rooms, he froze it in scientific way, in exactly the same way in a freezer. So the drops of water became ice, and then the magic appeared, and that's what I want you to take a look at. That those ice crystals were all in different shapes and forms. While it was the same water, they were frozen in the same process. However, they were exposed to different vibrations. The water was not touched. It was different vibrations having an effect on those water drops. And the water crystals with the people who screamed at the water, you're ugly, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. That was really deformed shapes of ice under the microscope. And the shapes of the water that was exposed to people who were kind to each other, making love, had really organic shapes, really, really beautiful. Go and watch it. But first watch my video to the end, okay? Now my point is, well, I'm going to walk a little back. It's too mosquito-ish. Let me walk back a little bit and I will turn it on again. Alrighty, I climbed out of the river. Let's see how it goes here with the mosquitoes. So my point is, there's more around you happening that you are probably aware of. Now let's take fear and the fear of crime. Now thinking about moving to Costa Rica, that was your plan. Now you hear all these stories, fearful stories, dangerous stories. People were worried. Terrible situation has happened. Now you can do two things. Totally ignore it. I think that's being naive. That's what you should not do. Because crime is a fact. And in a way, you do not really have an influence on that, okay? But the other thing is, you are in control how that influences your happiness, right? Because everything you focus on grows. Now, the only way and the best way to literally feel stronger and self-confidence and basically untouchable for crime without being naive. So don't leave your stuff unguarded in your car and all that jazz, don't be naive. But I'm talking about being afraid for big crime, robberies, teams coming to your house and rob you. And yeah, that's terrible stories. How I deal with that, I stay away from the fear and I make myself stronger from the inside out. Because I own my feelings and I own my thoughts. And my feelings are the result of my thought. So what do? I work on my personal development, how to deal with fear, how to have more self-confidence. But also, there's so much to discover according to the law of attraction. I have been taught by someone who had house practice in her house since her kids she's an empty nester. But when she had her first babies, her babies were in the crib sleeping when she was a pedicure. She did people's feet while her husband was at work. She said, in fact, I had strangers in my house and I was very vulnerable having 2 young babies in the age of 0 and 1 year sleeping, doing naps while I was working. A lot of my friends called me crazy, said, aren't you afraid that they will rob you, rape you, walk away with all your stuff, do something, or even just harm your kids? And she said, that is a way of going. However, I choose to put a circle of fire around my property, around my house, like also a loving fire circle, that no bad people want to enter this circle. And she said, call me crazy. But in all the 25 years that I worked as a pedicure, now she stopped working, nothing ever negative or threatening happened, ever. But consistently, I imagined that circle of protection around my house. And I thought, I can just discuss this with her, like, well, show me proof, but I can also just take it as a truth and just do it myself. So I start to do that while I am also working on my personal development. And I have a huge tip for you, because we all bargain on spending time on something that is not keeping us busy already. So personal development, I hear you think, Muriel, I don't have time to work on my personal development. You know, I have a job, I'm moving to Costa Rica, whatever you're doing. But this is something that I discovered that I already did for the past 9 years since I quit my job as a social worker, started to work for myself as an entrepreneur. Personal development is huge, right? 4% succeeds online. Well, everyone can succeed, but it's only the people who succeed who have a huge, strong, trained personal development muscle. How it's called, my muscle. And you can train that yourself. And that means that you are able to always see the glass half full instead of empty. And that's the difference between people. You cannot control the circumstances. So in case something bad happens to your neighborhood or with you, you cannot turn back the time or the circumstance, but you can decide how you move on with your life. Are you going to live behind barbed wire and alarms and guards? Is that really the life that you want? Or do you want to attract only good people to you and safe spaces? And that is something that I believe totally you can attract, but also by working daily on your personal development, which I am doing non-stop. You need a routine doing that, otherwise it doesn't have an effect. The same effect, for example, when I graduated as a social worker, my end assignment was about kids that were bullying other kids. And the best advised way for the adults, the teachers, the parents to deal with that. And the main solution was to make the child that was bullied stronger from within. Because you don't have why. That's what I learned back then and also wrote in my assignment. You do not control the plans or the thoughts or the behavior of others, but only your own. So if you do not make the child stronger from within, everywhere in the world are bullies. So you can take away the child from school and start somewhere else, but chances are that there's bullies there as well. And it's also often an energy field that the child that is bullied is getting used to having the role as bully. Well, when the child breaks with a specific behavior, breaks the habit of being him or herself, and start thinking that way, feeling, and that way acting differently, in this case, stronger and independent and being a you cannot bully me type of person, then the bullying stops. It's really effective. It's incredible. And it's the same way with basically anything that you don't want in life. Well, stop feeding it, okay? Yes, there is a lot of crime in Costa Rica, more and more. Yes, you should not leave your stuff on the beach unguarded. Don't walk around with bling bling stuff in poor neighborhoods in San Jose. Don't be stupidly naive. But these are extreme situations, examples, right? We all get this. It's the gray zones. Still, I believe that if you let yourself led by your fear, you're going to be a magnet for stuff that is creating fear. And that is how I see it and how I teach it and how I act on it for years and years and years. And I dare to say, but how can I prove it? Perhaps my videos are my own proof. Nothing bad has happened to me. And I live here for a while. And I live by the law of attraction. So the moment that something gets me, sometimes I'm scared. I am observing and I'm participating at the same time. I realize, okay, this situation can scare me. But the situation can also be, let's take away my attention on it so it cannot grow. Let's focus on something else and let's move from there. And without feeding it and only focusing on worst case scenarios of people who went to Costa Rica and ended up dead. And yes, there are stories, unfortunately, and I feel so bad about these people. But still, it doesn't have to be an example how it's going to be for you. You can be an example of only success, that everything will go fine. And people with bad intentions somehow feel that they're going to pass your house. I believe in that. I believe in the power of mind. I believe in the power of attraction, the law of attraction. I believe in the power of good as well. And be a good person yourself, right? And please, 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 I also want to highlight, again, there's also, you should not trust everyone. But I want to ask you, stop distrusting everyone. Because that's no life as well. What world are we living in if everyone is, suspicious of one another? I remember when my daughter had a motor accident. She was hitchhiking with someone. That person fell. She fell. She broke her collarbone. Yeah, she was somewhere at the countryside. The back of a motor of a strange guy. And a lot of people ask me, Muriel, what the heck? She was there with a strange guy. No one was there. Her phone was empty. Anything could have happened. But I don't see it that way. One, that guy was really friendly and helped her. He called a taxi. He gave her his phone so she could call me. Everyone was helpful. All the strangers were super helpful. So I see the glass half full, not half empty. Yes, what if? But that's not how I live. And what if, and then if anything bad happens, then I deal with it in my way as well. And always with the awareness, everything happens to teach me something. So if you look at bad things happening in your life that way, and you see it as a growth path of development, anyways, that's the path of life. I think you're always good. So don't be naive. I do not ignore crime in total, but I refuse to live in fear. I refuse to live in a compound with armed guards. I don't want to wish to live in a prison like that. I believe in the good of people and I strive to pass that on. And I do know that there's incredible, huge amounts of awesome people, including all the locals who I count as my family in a lot of situations. And yes, we guard one another's house. We pay attention. Hey, there's a weird guy standing a little bit long in front of your gate. But that's just social helping each other. But work on your personal development, people, and learn how to deal with fear, and fear that's not in proportion with the situation that you're in, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And a really big help, and I learned in the past 9 years to gather all materials, books, podcasts, audios, training. I bought a lot of coaching myself. Well, I'm a life coach now myself also for many, many years. But if you want to keep it simple, I urge you to invest in your personal development growth app. And it's something that I discovered with one of my favorite authors, Brandon Bouchard. You don't have to scroll, just go down my video and just click that link of the growth app. And that's a compilation of awesome training. I just wrote down some titles that, because it's in my phone, it's an app, but you can also open it on your laptop. You can have access for free, but you can also upgrade to $500, and there you're gonna have like mind-blowing amount of education. For example, here, how to lead a life full of courage is one of the training, and it's high-end training. This is not just random people. These are high-end coaches who are well known from all over the world. How to lead a life full of courage. Transformation week. It's all training and podcasts and stuff. Here, develop your emotional well-being, or how to relax and wind down at the end. Time management, but also they have stuff about leadership. I use a lot to refer to my students, but also for myself. Under and above the line leadership, time management, but also how to live a happy life. Like, most people are coming to Costa Rica to feel happy and free and to perhaps start a new life. But now they're grabbed by crime in Costa Rica, and they're so fearful, and now they walk around like this, looking at every stranger as if they are thieves or burglars or rapers, and that's not the case, right? So I want you to feel better. If you're planning on coming to Costa Rica and you wonder how safe is Costa Rica, I do not own the circumstances of safety and crime, but I do own how I feel. And I feel happy and free, and I'm totally not scared. I feel supported. I feel supported by the universe. I feel supported by my own good heart, because I don't steal, I don't lie. And I believe how you treat others and how you stand in life, it will bounce back at you as a universal law. Now, some people are not familiar with this way of thinking, and that's okay too. I read a lot of books. I think there's an ant biting me. Welcome in Costa Rica, but welcome in my world. I hope to inspire you, pass it on, and get in that growth app and just start developing yourself, strengthening yourself from within. I think that is one of the best ways to how to deal with ants. That's another, I don't know what's in my hair, but something is biting me. That's going to be a next video, but I'm not going to cut it. This is just how it is. You can live a happy life, surrounded by crime perhaps, and sleeping well without being afraid, as long as you work on your personal development. Promise me to do that next to all the other solutions that you can do against crime. Work from within you, grow yourself, using the growth app. I'm using it, I'm listening to it every single day, and to a very happy life and or time in Costa Rica. Let me know about your thoughts, your thinking, things to add, and if you are curious and you want to work with me, go to the description below. My son is practicing on our own land on how to ride a motorbike. That's what's happening behind me as well. But thanks for watching, and let me know if this was helpful in a way. I hope so. It was my intention too. Ciao, talk soon.